Hello, welcome to the OVerShadow ShadowCast. So your hosts Abigail Mowat, Thomas Anderson.
Don't swap the names around like that because it messes with my mind. It's like saying Deck and Ant instead of Ant and Deck. Okay, stop your creepy old man laughter.
To the dark side of the force.
Stop using copyrighted material.
That's words.
Yeah, it's still copyrighted, I think.
As long as I don't sing them, I'm fine.
No, that's not what copyright means.
TMC. No,
Copyright doesn't mean singing.
no, but when it comes to words, I don't think you can copyright like words because people have to be able to talk
I think
about
you
it.
can.
I don't think you can sing them because that's considered music. Yeah, I know, it's mental. Anyway, blame people like Ed Sheeran.
No, I'm not blaming Ed Sheeran.
I just like to blame Ed Sheeran for everything. I don't think he's responsible for
I
anything.
love Ed Sheeran.
I don't think he's responsible for anything. But for some reason, when I try and think of who the megalomaniac is, it's trying to shut down YouTube because they're not making an extra 13
Oh no, I can
pence
think
a
of
year.
somebody. I can think of somebody.
Kanye West.
No,
Who?
I will not mention.
No, we just.
I will not mention.
Well, I'll make noise and you can just tell me. Quickly, tell me before they get annoyed at this noise.
Stop it.
What is it?
What?
What's the name? Who is it? Who is the evil one?
I'm not telling you because you'll mention them throughout this.
Yeah, alright, fine.
I'll tell you after.
Nah. Right, I can't mention them throughout this if you tell me after, so what's the point? Yeah, for some reason...
I know your game.
Yeah, for some reason, my mind blames Ed Sheeran for basically
Stop
everything.
bringing up Ed Sheeran. Why are you so obsessed with Ed Sheeran?
I don't know. My mind just...
You don't even like his music.
No, my mind just blames him for almost everything.
Is it because he's ginger?
Oh my god, you're right, it is. It's because he's a ginger. It's because he's demon.
Oh,
He's a
I
ginger
was just
demon.
joking.
Oh my god. It all makes sense now. All the pieces are falling into place
And
in my
he
mind.
took it to another country, to another level.
Come on.
My ears are still ringing from
That's-
after that.
That's fine, whatever. Your ears are unnecessary. You speak with your face. Right.
Yeah, but I listened to buzzing with my ears through the headphones.
That's where you made your mistake. Now,
Let
what
me
have you
give you
been
the headphones.
What have you been playing?
I
Hey.
went back to Spyro.
Oh, you went back
And I
to
finished
Spyro.
Spyro, the first one, because it's a trilogy. So you've got Spyro, the second one, which I cannot remember what it's called, something like Raito or something like that, and then there's You're the Dragon.
Right. Quick question. This is the remastered thing. Reignited trilogy for
Yes.
you play it on the Xbox.
1S.
What?
1S.
You play it on the Xbox and One S.
Yes.
So how did that go?
Really well, because I think I've said before I played You're the Dragon on PlayStation.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you for that.
My brain just
That
froze.
completely worked. I think that's a full answer. I think that it went really well. I've played it before. Did you finish it before?
But it took. I remember I've got very, very fond memories of Year of the Dragon because I would play it with my sister and also one of our friends, and he was better at games than me or my sister because he just had loads of them. But I remember because I was playing it and my sister saw me, and it was one of the speedway levels.
What are they?
Speedway levels is where you have got to clock running down. That's the phrase I'm trying to find out. So you start off with like 25 seconds, and each thing you hit adds on an extra second.
So basically, it's like a checkpoint race.
Checkpoint race. Yeah, I think
Right.
I mentioned it last time I was talking about it. But my sister saw me playing it. I was like, "Oh, do you remember playing these in the Spy?" And she said, "Do I remember playing it, or do I remember asking for you to do it because I couldn't do it?" But it's just quite a novel experience to see something that you remember looking a specific way, and then it being remastered into something that's very three-dimensional. Well, it was 3D before, but
It's fleshed out.
really, yeah. But so anyway, I finished the first game.
Sharpened up.
I finished the first game, and the final, like the big boss, was difficult the first time I did it because I didn't understand how to do one specific part of it. But apart from that, it was incredibly easy. But I did speak to you about this, saying that there was this one part where I kept dying. So I had to go and basically grind to get more lives.
Yeah. That's an old school game thing, having to go and grind for more lives.
Yeah, but there was also all these skill points I hadn't gotten yet. So I decided to go back through all the levels to get all the skill points, and they're hidden throughout the games.
Right,
so you know, burn a specific tulip, or land on a specific point in the game.
And what is a skill point for?
You get an extra life.
Ah.
I think I can't remember if you got an extra life, but you got it basically would just come up skill point. I used to get them in Year of the Dragon, but I didn't understand what they were.
Right. Okay.
Because I would just go around doing stuff.
Right.
You know, if you could burn some flags, I would just go around burning flags, and it's like, oh, skill point.
Yeah. Yeah. Just talking about games, I've been thinking about this recently. You say games remastered. I don't know if I'd necessarily want to see them remastered, but I do really want, like, the you know, the Nintendo have been releasing the minis.
Yes.
I really do want a mini 64.
I know you said that last time.
Because there's so many games when I was a child that I couldn't finish because I just wasn't good enough yet.
Do you not still have a 64?
No.
Did you get rid of it?
It broke. It broke, so I didn't have a choice really. It was done. Yeah, I would love to see a 64 mini just to have some, like.
They're bound to bring one out.
I hope so, because I'm waiting for stuff. Or maybe I wouldn't even mind if they put, like, some of the 64 games in the Switch, and you had to, you know, like, buy the pack of games, because it's Mario, Zelda, and Donkey Kong were games I just never got a chance to finish.
I mean, you know, with the popularity of the other minis, I'm pretty sure that that'll be on its way soon.
Hopefully, because I want to finish those 3 games. And I was so close when I was a kid, I just didn't quite have the skill level necessary.
No. But anyway, so yeah, it was pretty simple, this game, because I thought I was actually going to have to, like, fight off against something, and I didn't. I was literally just chasing Nasty Nork around, which is, like, the big villain in the first game. I was literally just chasing him.
Right.
But there was one point where it's platforms over lava,
right,
and these platforms are sinking back into the wall, and what I thought I had to do was I had to sit on one and wait for another one to come out. I didn't realise that they just keep going into the wall. They don't come back out again. So it's a race of you having to memorise where these platforms are.
Right, okay.
And just basically just keep going at it and not get scared by it.
Right, okay, I understand.
Which was very easy to do in the end. So I spent all this time, like, grinding to get all these lives. I think I got up to something like 45 lives because I had died so many times beforehand. Because again, I was waiting for these platforms to sort of sink back come back out again.
Right, okay.
And that's where I kept dying.
Right.
Or the one time where I'd fall off into the purple goop that was at the bottom, which you can't fly out of. And then, so I got there with 45 lives, and I was just able to do it that first time. Because I was like, I wonder what would happen if I just kept going.
Oh, man.
I was so annoyed at myself.
It's not normal. It's not normal that they build, you have to die into a boss fight to be able to finish it. I'm sure somebody has developed a game like that, but that's not the normal.
No, but I just thought that...
Yeah.
I just thought, instead of me constantly falling into the lava, what would happen if I just kept going and I won?
Interesting question, though, that, isn't it? You said you completed it before, so how did you make that mistake if you've already finished it?
No, I had never done this game before. It was Year of the Dragon I had done.
Oh, what's yours? Is that the third one?
That's the third one.
Oh, I'm sorry, I got confused. What's the first one called?
Spyro the Dragon, I think. It's just called Spyro the Dragon.
Right, okay.
The second one, I can't remember what it's called. It was like Rico or something like that.
Right, got you. Right, okay.
Which I started playing. Which I find very interesting because playing into the second game, I recognise a lot of the mechanics more from the third game.
Mm-hmm.
Like, characters which are very prevalent in the third game are introduced in this game itself. A lot of how you play it is more like the second game to the third game than the first game to the third game. If that makes any sense.
Mm-hmm.
For one, I'm able to swim in water in the second game. Could not do that in the first game, I don't think, because I kept getting drowned. And they also introduced the idea of swimming underwater in the second game.
Mm-hmm. And you can do that in the third one?
Yeah. But I think in the third one you also have a time limit of how long you can actually spend underwater in certain parts.
It's a wee bit...
Before you drown.
Yeah, it's. I'm not going to talk about it because I've still not played the third one yet, but it's a little bit like some of the debates about Mass Effect, because some people are saying should they remaster Mass Effect and re-release them for the better consoles, especially if the next generation comes out, because they're all 360 games, with the exception of Andromeda, but that doesn't count. And some people were saying, should they remaster them? Do we want Andromeda? No, don't give us that nonsense. But some people have started saying, well, how are they going to do it? Because the first game's mechanics are drastically different from the next two.
Yeah.
Like, it's the same cover shoot, but they introduce things like reload. The leveling up system is different. I think there's a difference when it comes to healing up and stuff like that. So the weapons are different. The powers, I think, even slightly different. So I'm not sure how they would go about it. They heavily refined a lot of the actual role-playing mechanics between the first and the next two. So what would they do? Would they just remaster them as they are, or would they alter one to try and make it more like 2 and 3?
Yeah, because also something else I noticed that with the second game, which is a lot like the third game. In the third game, I remember... In Spyro, sorry. Yeah. In the third game, there was this thing where you could not complete a level the first time you played it because there were characters that you needed to unlock further into the games.
Right.
Further into the levels, sorry. And also there were things you needed to learn in later levels. So you could, there was very few levels that you could finish first time round.
Right.
You'd always have to go back to them. This is something which I'm now seeing in the second game, whereas in the first game you could pretty much finish, if I remember correctly, you could just finish it. Which I find more interesting because it means that it feels like it's a longer game. But you're going backwards and forwards, which I quite like.
Depends how they do it, though, because it could just feel like a repetition to extend the shelf life of the game, or the playing time.
Yeah, but there's certain things which are very... It's like a medium between the first game and the third game. There's things I'm recognising from the first game, but there's also things I'm recognising from the third game. Okay. Also, which I quite like, they've introduced, which I see they've started to introduce in the second game, was the kind of more clever placement of gems that you need to collect to complete a level or to get 100%. Because then it's more of a challenge.
What console did the third one come out on?
I believe it was all PlayStation.
1.
I don't know. I can't
That's
remember.
what I'm asking. Obviously, it wasn't...
I'm trying to remember. It must have been PlayStation 1 because I remember when Spyro A New Beginning came out, that was PlayStation 2. And that was years and years after the third one.
Mm-hmm.
I hate it. I actually hated that game so much.
What game?
A New Beginning. Spyro A New Beginning. Mainly because it was kind of a prequel. You're mentioning like you're putting up like four fingers.
Was that the fourth game released?
That I believe it was. I don't know for certain. Okay. I don't know off the top of my head.
Spyro's not really a thing I ever did, and I don't think I could get into it now because just looking at the game, it seems very simplistic from a modern point of view. And simple games they always have a habit of boring me very quickly. It is
simplistic, but it's funny. I enjoy it because of the crazy characters like that. But also again, like these skill points, like some of them are quite difficult. Right. So if you don't know the location, like it's really, really random. One skill point genuinely was burn this tulip. And the thing's full of tulips, and you're like, right, which one is it? And it was like one that was hidden away.
It tells you what you're doing.
Yeah, you can open up the guidebook and you can go to skill points and it tells you
where the skill... Is that in the game?
Yeah.
Right, okay.
And it tells you where the skill points are and what it is, but it doesn't...
You're just running around breathing on everything.
It doesn't hold your hand through it.
Right, okay. Just gives you a heads up so you can roughly work it out yourself.
It's like one of the levels was skill point was literally called all seaweed. And you're like, and then you had to, because I had played it a bit more by that point, I was like, oh, okay, the seaweed looks different to all the other seaweed. I think that's probably it.
Right. I think in Batman there are things you have to find, little puzzles hidden, and I think in the menu they give you a clue So they tell you how many are in each room, and then I think they give you a clue as to where they are.
Yeah.
So you can roughly work it out. Some, though, are just big question marks, so you don't know, but others have clues.
But it was interesting because obviously the second game is where I can't remember if you were introduced to moneybags in the first game or not. I don't think you were. It was in the second game. And Hunter, who are in the third game a lot.
Characters.
They're characters, yeah. They're like, Hunter is Spyro's friend in the third one, and Moneybags is literally just wanting to take all the gems from Spyro. Okay. It's like, oh, well, you can borrow this, but for like 500 gems, or I can teach you to swim for 500 gems.
Right.
But it's interesting because I've got this image of what they looked like, and now they're much more fleshed out. Hunter looks like nothing like I thought he was going to look like. I didn't know who it was at first until it popped up saying Hunter.
Right.
I was like, oh, okay. That's the way we're going to go. Okay.
That doesn't
because
sound
good. I did actually understand what Hunter was. He's a cheetah. Mm-hmm. So he looks like a cheetah in the Reignited trilogy, but he was much more orange and much more... Like a comic book character, I thought more in the
right, okay.
in Year of the Dragon, and then even Moneybags looks a little bit off because obviously he looked a certain, I don't know the limitations they had when they first made Spyro, but now they have to make it look like the original, so he kind of looks very out of proportion a little bit, but I've taken like some screenshots and something like that, so hopefully I can pass it off to you and we can get that on there.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what that
and
was
also
for.
there's I also took some photos and things like that of me swimming underwater, which is actually incredibly peaceful. You could just spend like hours just like going around the water. It's really pretty.
We did that in Halo, didn't we? We went running out on the 4th mission into the water and just stood there.
Can't remember.
Yeah. There's also the coolant you can stand in.
Yeah, but I can't remember if that was one of the ones where you just started thrashing me, just killing me on the spot.
No, it would have been.
Relentlessly.
It would have been.
Speaking of Halo.
Oh, Halo.
Shall we talk about Halo?
Yeah,
Or have we been talking about Spyro for too long?
No, I'm going to let you... We did find out that there's only 3 missions to the...
I apologise.
...playlist. And we went and finished it. And so it was the last mission. And
this is Daring Escapes, wasn't it?
Yes, and it was the last mission in Daring Escapes playlist, which is the last mission in the game.
It is the driving one.
And the last bit of the game is this driving through an obstacle course, which is amazing. I absolutely love it. I think it's brilliant. But I decided that because we were on normal difficulty and Abigail was further into the game than when we played it together on Legendary, that she was going to... and she's done it herself on Legendary, she was going to be the driver. Discuss.
I don't want to.
No, you will discuss.
I was really good at using the rocket launcher this time and that bit of the mission.
Oh yeah, you did. Yeah, you were much better at that. We didn't have to swap over.
I did fall off a few times, but I didn't die.
No, because you were falling from a lower height.
Yeah. Unlike in the car, in the Warthog, in that last bit, where you're given a countdown. Basically the last mission, you're given a countdown of almost 6 minutes.
So we'll say that you were actually very good at driving when you were in the car by yourself.
Yeah.
Good is a bit relative. You still never actually made it to the end.
I was in sight. Literally,
but you did
it was
see
like
the
between
end.
Here and there, and the clock ran down.
To put it into
like
context,
5 feet away.
She could see the finish line about 3 times and then ran out of time or died. Whereas,
ran out of time.
Well, you did die once, but then we ran out of time.
No, I'm talking about when it was just me.
Yeah.
I just left you behind.
Yeah, no, you did die, remember? You ran towards it and then got killed.
Oh,
and then
yeah.
beamed back to me and then we ran out of time.
Oh, yeah. Anyway, so you continue what you were saying.
So basically, if your car flips or someone dies, but in this case Abigail, the driver, is still alive, she can just keep going and I'll respawn whenever the game decides it's okay. So she then just disappears. She wasn't just deliberately driving off and leaving me. But the overall objective is basically to get the car from point A through this obstacle course to point B in a 6-minute time limit.
Yeah.
That's it. And I did say it was an obstacle course. On you go.
I want to give a bit of context. Everybody's ever watched.
Confess.
I was terrible. There's an episode of Frasier out there where he's learning to ride a bike. And whenever he gets on a bike, he just can't help but crash into a tree. That is what happened with me. Everything I could crash into, I crashed into. Flipping the car was my main
I don't know how you did that. Like, there was one time where we were driving along absolutely fine. You just took a bit of a jump and we were fine, and then the car just started to rotate out of nowhere. I think you were trying to steer while in the air.
No, I wasn't.
Something happened because
I didn't touch it.
You just went, woof, oh, this is absolutely fine. All the wheels are level. Oh, my, no, they're not. What's going on? Oh my God, flip, roll, 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 roll.
Literally, I really wish we had been recording it.
I know, so do I. There's one point in it where you have to make a jump down, right, into like a sink U-bend. And you hear Cortana over the heads, she just says, if you go at full speed, we should be able to make it. And I said, just drive in a straight line. Right?
I did.
And you get that just before we hit the edge, you turn left. And we missed we jumped far enough, but instead of going into the entrance, we just landed on the side.
I've never heard you laugh so much in your life.
Same with you. But she kept bumping into absolutely everything. I gave you some tips on how to like slalom round stuff and it worked better. You know, I told you which way to go for the most efficient thing to stop you having to find your own way.
I was yelling at you when you kept saying, slalom, I'm trying.
But the funny part for me, the one that had me absolutely whiz-tinkling myself, was when there's these little tunnels, there's little sort of like obstacle course rooms, and they're connected by large tunnels, right?
Yeah.
But inside the obstacle rooms are smaller tunnels. So you can go down into these little dips and then up and out the other side. Yeah,
there's ramps, there's tunnels, there's bars,
so there's the big tunnels
walls.
And the small tunnels. You were driving straight towards an entrance of a small tunnel, which is about, I'd say, 3 times as wide as the car.
Yeah.
You were heading straight for the middle. And I'm like, excellent, you're doing really well. And then I was just watching it, and the car just started drifting to the left. And I thought, what is she doing? This is fine. Why is she changing? And she starts drifting to... and I think maybe it tried to go right and you compensated, because you just that was a problem you had, is it a little twitch to one side and you'd ram it the other way and spin the car, roll it, and we'd both be standing there. I'd spin the car over and it would crush you. You'd then respawn, get in and drive off and leave me behind.
Oh, that was hilarious when I did that the first time.
Like, actually getting in the car in the bay, you would just, because they were all in like little bays, Either I would wait till you'd driven it out and then get in the back, or I'd jump on it and get in the back. And there was one weird time where somehow try get in the gunner seat, put me in the driver's seat, and then you walked to the other side of the car and got in the side seat. We don't know how that happened. But there were also about 6 times where you just ran me over while I was trying to get in the car. There was one time where we exited the little area the cars are in. There's a burning warthog outside, and you just drove straight into it and up it, and then the car rolled back. And then we got swarmed with bad guys. But anyway.
Drove over, not mines,
grenades. Like, you just veered towards the flaming light and then blew up.
I'm a moth.
But it was that time when you just started veering.
Light, but it's so beautiful.
You just started veering towards the left, right? 3 times as wide as the car. You were bang dead centre. Veer left, smash into the wall. Reverse, smash into the wall again. Reverse, line the car up, smash into the wall again. Because I think you kept trying to use the right stick to change the camera, but it moves the steering.
No,
I think in that one instance is what I'm saying.
Right. No, but here's the thing, right? Because I do understand that you use the right one to steer, but I'm also subconsciously trying to use the left one to steer as well. I don't know.
But I think you're also subconsciously trying to use the right one to move the camera, because that's what you do in other racing games.
No, I wasn't trying to move the camera. I didn't know I could do that till we played.
You can't.
Till we played Forza 6, yeah. And then I was like, "Oh, that changes the camera."
Fair
I didn't know it would. I didn't know games did that.
Okay. Well, fair enough. It's just that was amazing. I thought but that would make some more sense. But in that case, you just really badly rammed the car into a wall 3 times. But then when you got through the tunnel, you got out the other side. This was beautiful. You then headed for the main tunnels between them, right? The big ones, which are about 5 times, 6 times as wide as the car.
Yes.
The same thing happened. You veered wildly off to the left, up a ramp, and smashed into the wall.
What about that one time time where there's a part where you're kind of like in the open again on a bridge.
Oh God!
And I can't remember what it was.
We've made it far enough, and I said, just be careful going across this bridge, and you'll be okay.
Yeah, and then I jokingly said, "Oh, what would happen if I went slightly over to the edge, not meaning to go over?" And then I thought, "Oh, I'm getting too close," so I decided to veer off wildly to the other side.
You went to the left. You were close. You veered to the
over
right,
the bridge,
and then you went straight over. And I just went, and she said, "I didn't mean that. No, I didn't mean that." Oh man. You just kept hitting everything.
I just like the parts where I was so determined if I had left you behind to finish that by myself, and I was so close every single time.
Yeah.
I was like, I think there's a reason for this, but I'm not having somebody scream at me.
I wasn't ever doing that though.
It felt like
No,
it.
but I never was. I was honestly just saying, go left, it's quicker. Try and slalom around the pipes. I was being really good. You've got to say that. I was being really...
You're being far less patronising than you normally are.
I wasn't being patronising at all, women. But it was just, you just started panicking having somebody in the back seat. I thought maybe the gun was putting you off.
I wasn't panicking. I was not panicking.
Well, there was some reason for you being able to get to the end.
Probably laughing too much.
I suppose that's the
I was probably
point.
laughing too much. It then dawned on me, you couldn't see what I was doing when I left you behind. For some reason, I thought you could see what I was doing.
No, I could have if I'd been dead, but it spawned me back in,
Yeah,
so
but
I
that's
couldn't
what
see. Yeah.
I wonder why it spawned you back in, but surely there would be too many enemies around where you were. Or is it too many enemies around me?
It's around... Well, it spawns me in at you.
And vice versa.
Right, so what would happen is that it would either spawn me in just as you were driving away, or it would spawn me in as mandatory checkpoints where it auto spawns you.
Yeah.
And that's where it would have spawned me in.
I just remember hearing you going, "Oh, there you've gone now."
Yeah. Like all I could see was this green triangle going up and down and left and right. It was really bad for you at one point was that you left me behind and I nearly caught up to you. The only thing that stopped me was that you can't run up some of the tunnel ramps. So I was stuck, but because they're too steep. But I actually nearly caught you because you were hitting absolutely everything. There's one point where you flipped the car and I covered you as you got in it, and then you drove off anyway. And I'm like, Abigail, go and look at the motion sensor. You'd have seen me. There's another one where I said, right, don't go up on the right because there's bumps. Don't go up on the left because we don't need to use the ramps in many tunnels. Just go between them and it's a straight line. You then immediately go up a ramp and jump onto a dropship. Boom, bounce off.
Flip and die.
Oh man. I think we did flip and die quite a lot.
That was so much fun though.
That was so much fun.
I'm
not playing that mission with you for another 6 months and then we're recording it because that was hilarious.
What happens if I'm really good at it and then we just go through it?
It's another year and a half and then we'll play again. We're not playing Halo with vehicles in it until we can record. It's not happening. It was too fun. You're not driving, right? If there's a vehicle, I drive.
Okay.
Right, there, that's a solution. Right, so that was hilarious, and unfortunately we don't have any actual footage of it, but...
I'm pretty sure we do, because I remember taking something.
Oh, you've got something... I don't think it's any of the funny stuff. It's just the... Well, it is funny, you got shot in the head, but other than that, it's not funny. Okay?
Okay.
Shall we move on now?
Yes.
Oh no, me and Brian finished the main campaign of Gears of War Judgment last night.
Oh, very well. Very well done.
We both like 1. I like 2 a lot. It's my favourite. Brian likes it less because it... See, in the last little act, it reset all of his achievement progress for some reason. So the games since then hate him because he doesn't get the rewards for having played all the previous games. But he didn't like 3, neither did I. Well, it's a good game, we enjoyed it, but it's not... It felt weird.
Yeah.
It was like, here is the objective of the game, and it was the same thing the whole way through, and then you ended the game. So that's just didn't like that. It felt lazy to me. And Judgment's actually pretty good. The missions are tiny, but they have these modifiers in. It's like you can only use these weapons, there's restricted ammo, you can only melee attack, that sort of thing. And it made it really fun, really difficult at points. And the story was actually better because it kept adapting, whereas in 3 it just kept going the same way. So that was better. Lots of little fights in different areas. It was more fun. I would prefer the larger mission objectives and get rid of those things, but it was a nice change of pace to have a game like that.
Cool.
And apparently Gears 5 is quite heavily adapted as well compared to the
Gears
previous
of War
one.
4.
Yeah, they handed that out free. Yeah, so you should have that too. So that's the one. There's this extra wee thing we need to finish called Aftermath on Judgment, and then after that we're on to 4. So looking forward to it. We started 3 this like March, April time, something like that. And then we had that finished quite quickly, and then June was when we started this, and we finished it now because we can only play some weekends.
Almost sounds like you're saying Dune.
June.
The
month of June. You're the one covered in sand, and we play couch co-op. We don't play online for this stuff, so we can only meet up at certain weekends. So it takes a bit of time.
Yeah.
It's fun. It's not as much fun as 2 was because we were able to just sit there for like 5 or 6 hours and play it, but it's fun still.
Yeah, how long ago was that though?
I was at uni, I think, so we played it in the summer holidays, but I was still at school.
Yeah.
For 2, I think. So that was 10 years ago maybe, or something stupid like that. Well, like 3 came out in like 2011. We had a lot of fun. It explained a lot of the previous story's backstory. And it gave you some introduction to the 2 sort of side characters, as it were, of Baird and Cole. So it was fun.
It sounds like a fun game. I'd like to try it.
Mm-hmm. It's fun. You can get 4-player co-op on some of them.
Cool.
Yeah.
It's like I was watching, I was re-watching Rick and Morty the other day. This guy kept talking about the Gear Wars. I was like, this sounds very familiar. It's like, oh, that's because there's a game called...
Called?
Gear Wars.
No.
Darn it.
Gears
of War.
That's it. Because
I was getting confused.
The institution is called the COG, the Coalition of of Governments.
Yeah,
Coalition of Governments.
No, the idea is that this character comes from a world where everybody's like parked gears.
Right. Okay.
Like Rick calls him Gearhead.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's got like gears all over him and things like that.
But in the case of this, just to explain why they're called the game is called Gears, is because the human alliance is called the COG, the Coalition of Governments.
Yeah.
And so they call their soldiers Gears.
Oh, right.
So Gears of War is soldiers.
Yeah, but I wonder if this character was a play on that game.
Possibly, yeah.
It'd be interesting to find that out. Can't wait for season 4 to start.
We're moving on. I don't care.
I think you'd actually like it if you sat down and watched it.
Yeah, but I don't care right now. So, the question we were asked by a particular audience member, you know who you are.
Hi, James.
Because you're the only one there. So it's the role of Japanese developers in the game industry and the overall effect. We still don't have an answer yet.
No, because I did actually do research.
Yes.
But you said, well, you've not actually answered the question. Because I find it very difficult to answer the question, because in all honesty, I think you need like about 2 hours to actually discuss it.
So I think what we're going to do is
And a trip to Japan.
Yeah, so I think what we're going to do is we're going to record that
Gotta get those chest x-rays done.
Yeah, you need to get a chest x-ray.
Tommy was talking about the fact that everybody who goes to Japan has to get a chest x-ray because we were watching the rugby.
An entry visa, you need a chest x-ray. Anyway, what were we saying?
Because there's a lot you need, like a 2 hour...
Right, so what I was thinking... Right, so what we'll do is we'll have one which... we'll record something which doesn't necessarily have any news, but just topics we want to talk about. And if this one takes the whole hour or 45 minutes, then whatever.
I think that's in all honesty, you'd have to do that because there's so much. I mean, it's like... because obviously you've got things like Sony and Nintendo... who are the juggernauts of this industry.
Right.
They've existed since then.
Yeah, right. Well, what we'll do is... and Sega and stuff, but what we'll do...
Sega no longer exists.
Yes, it does. The games console doesn't. Yeah. Anyway, so what we'll do is we'll work this out and we'll have a record where we're just recording about this and maybe a couple of other topics. No,
it just have to be this. I would not do...
my point, it wouldn't be news. It would be things that we can... Like, things we want to talk about, which if we run out of time we don't talk about, it's not a problem. But it won't be news that we're supposed to talk about.
No.
Right. So we'll do that when we can and put that up.
Yeah.
It might be a little while though, but it will be done.
So shall we move on?
So we'll move on to the actual stories.
Shall we move on to Anthem?
Anthem.
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 It's still bad.
So after the terrible release of the game and the Cataclysm release recently, where people are basically, is this what I've been waiting for? This is rubbish. Bioware are moving away from the original Axe system for the content rollout.
Yep.
And are focusing on the game's core issues with a slower rollout of other things.
In quotations, core issues. That was an actual quote.
Yeah. So game's core issues basically means the game doesn't work properly and is boring.
Yes. Well, they've said that they're going to abandon the Axe with seasonal updates.
They're replacing the Axe with seasonal updates. Yes.
And nobody knows yet what seasonal update actually means.
So we don't know what they're going to be releasing, and we don't know what the time frame is.
Yep. Because the Axe updates were supposed to be furthering the ongoing narrative of the game.
Aye. So but there is no narrative of the game.
No. Now I've got to remember that it was released in February this year, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
So, like, quite a lot has actually happened in the space of February to now, which is September.
Well, yeah, a lot of time has. Nothing on the game.
No, but a lot has happened within that company, though. Loads of people have left.
Yes, like the guy
team
who
has
was
changed.
in charge of Anthem. But the point is that nothing's actually happened with Anthem.
No.
That's the problem. Nothing's been released.
Because I think the last major update was the fact that there were going to be roadmaps, and they've scrapped that.
No, the last major update was Cataclysm.
Oh, my apologies, sorry.
That's the actual release they had.
Yeah.
But the
roadmaps
are gone.
Yeah.
I would just say Cataclysm wins because it's something in the game.
Yeah, but I don't understand what these seasonal updates are. I wonder if they're just going to be like a band-aid effect, like it's just going to be like a quick fix.
A plaster.
Yeah. The actual phrase is called band-aid effect. Sticking a band-aid on it. Nobody says sticking a plaster on it.
Actually, they do.
I've never heard that. I've only ever heard the phrase band-aid.
It's plaster, just so we can explain it. So it's a stopgap measure that isn't necessarily going to work very well.
That's what my feeling is.
But I don't really know what the stopgap measure is because all they've done is release Cataclysm. If they're still working on core issues, it means they haven't fixed the core issues, so they're still there.
Why abandon the roadmaps though?
Because they that's the whole thing basically. That's what this topic is, right?
Yeah.
So here's the question: is this fair? What they've done?
In terms of?
They've rearranged their release system. They're not giving out any information. They haven't fixed any of the core issues yet. They haven't actually released anything they said they would yet, with the exception of Cataclysm, which was rubbish.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not fair on the gamers because they promised this stuff when they released the game. You could do them for false advertising if they don't release the extra content.
Yeah.
Secondly, although they might have been cheeky when it comes to releasing the roadmap, do it just after the game's out and you're fine. Secondly, will we see the rest of the content which was supposed to be coming?
I honestly don't know because it's just kind of difficult still to get my head around because it just seems like such a weird thing to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Same with like Fallout 76.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that you release a game which is just a bit buggy.
It's not working basically.
It's not working properly. Yeah, if this happened with a car or a product, there would be a recall. There would be refunds.
Well, it wouldn't be refunds. It would be fines.
Yeah, but it's.
No, that's what I'm saying. It wouldn't just be refunds. They would also have to pay fines for releasing dangerous products.
Yeah. Like obviously, no one's gonna die from this.
Mm-hmm.
But they basically need to do a recall, in my opinion. Do refunds, run an investigation as to what actually happened. And re-release something that's actually going to be worthwhile.
Do you remember there was a bit of a debate about whether or not Anthem had been false advertising because when they released the original E3 footage, the game looked amazing.
Yeah.
And then they released the other E3 footage and the game, and it wasn't what people had seen before.
No.
So people said, well, I got confused because of what I'd seen before. And you can say, well, as long as they clearly say it's not the same thing, you're okay. Everybody was okay with that, right?
I know, because this happens with movies sometimes, is that you'll see something in a trailer, but you actually will never see that in the movie.
Right. But my point is here is that they said the game was going to have extra content. If you bought it after they said that, they have to release the content.
Yeah.
That's like saying if you buy this, you get a free, and then them saying, oh no, we just lied. Like, they can't do that. They have to release the content.
Yeah.
So this is one of those times where I do feel that they have actually, a lot of people say that the developers try and promise a lot with their game, right, and then don't deliver, right? Sometimes they have to change away, but as long as they say that's what they've done, then that's okay. The whole thing was No Man's Sky, where they basically just said stuff was in it that wasn't. But that's what's happened here, because they've said stuff will be in the game, and it's not. If they don't tell us when it's coming and what's coming, we don't know if what was promised is actually going to be there.
Yeah.
Like, if you don't promise what the content's going to be. Don't even say there's going to be extra content if you cannot actually guarantee it will be there.
No.
Because this is a trade, right? It's not reasonable for me to say, I'm going to hire this plumber and this team to do my bathroom, right? And they say we can get you these lovely granite tile tops for the sink, right?
Yeah.
And then they turn around and say, I'm sorry, we couldn't get them, so we've got cardboard instead.
No.
Or we couldn't get them, so we're not giving you a tabletop. Here's the money back. No. There is a point where the law has to be reasonable.
Yeah.
If they cannot get what was promised, they give you compensation and as good an item as they can.
Because that happened with me when I bought my bed frame. I chose a bed frame. It was cheaper than the one that I was kind of wanting more, but couldn't afford it. So I got the cheaper one, and then they phoned me up saying, "Oh, sorry, it's actually out of stock, but don't worry, we get you get this one instead, but we'll give it at the same price."
Yeah,
that was fair. That was fair trade. They let me know what was
Exactly.
happening, and genuinely the comfiest bed and nicest bed frame I've ever owned.
Right, if we can just get back to the but the point is that when it comes to that particular issue, what you're talking about is them basically just, we don't have it in stock. We'll get something to you eventually, but we're keeping your money. Bye.
Yeah, it's like when you order like a online shop or something like that, and I remember once I ordered a whole chicken, and
Oh yeah.
they didn't have any whole chickens in stock or something like that. So they said, "Oh well, it's the same price, so we'll just give you this," and it was 2 chicken breasts.
No.
I was like, no, you can take the chicken breast away and give me my money back.
Yeah.
Because there's a reason why I ordered a whole chicken. There's 4 people in this house.
Yeah.
What am I supposed to do with 2 chicken breasts?
Yeah.
I've ordered the rest of the ingredients for a roast chicken.
Yeah. So your entire order is based on the chicken, and then they don't have one.
Yeah.
That's just stupid.
I couldn't stop laughing when that actually happened. I was like, are you kidding me? I feel like rubbish. Was the reason I ordered it because I was really sick. And we were all kind of really sick. And so none of us really wanted to be going out. So we ordered it. And now, okay, we actually have to go out now to the shops to go get something.
Yeah. But what's happening here is that they basically haven't even bothered to... Well, basically, this is what's happened. Unfortunately, we didn't have the roast chicken, so we haven't brought you any of the extra stuff because we know you ordered it all for the chicken, but you can't have your money back because we'll get the chicken to you eventually. And what will probably happen is they'll give you the chicken, but none of the other stuff, and still keep the money. That's basically what's going to happen here. Do you think the rest of the content is coming?
No.
Do you think they're going to fix the core issues?
No.
Think they're just giving up on Anthem?
Yep.
I think there might be some core issue fixes and there might be some new things coming, but it will not be on the same scale that was promised before.
No.
Because they're a money-oriented developer. They don't care about their players at all. The developers might, the individual people, but not the company.
I honestly think that
Not
people
EA.
that go into gaming and things like that have a genuine love for the game and want to do as best a job as they can, but sometimes they're given restrictions that they have to work within. And sometimes things happen without their control.
Yeah, I genuinely
That's what I
think
mean by
that
the
a regular developer doesn't want to work for somebody like EA. They don't want to work for somebody like EA because what's the point?
Got to pay the bills.
Yeah, I know that, but they don't want to do it, especially in America.
Okay, let's not go into that.
So I think that what we're reporting on is the death of Anthem, or at least its
Should we move on to loot boxes?
Yeah, we will. So the next story we have here is it regards the story we told last week. It was about so this is about the ESA, and its strong disagreement with the UK's DCMS findings.
What is the ESA?
Hold on a second. Okay, I'll just do that. It's the Entertainment Software Association, so it's all the big companies.
Yeah.
It doesn't actually involve CD Projekt Red, if memory serves correctly.
Okay.
But it does the rest. And they're the lobbying group for them.
Yeah.
And the UK is the United Kingdom. Don't worry about that, it won't be around for long. And the DCMS is the...
Department of Digital Culture, Media and Sport.
Right? And it was their findings on loot boxes and their recommendation that real money loot boxes should be banned.
Yeah, because it's a form of gambling.
Right, so you can have a loot box in the game, but you have to earn the loot box in the game, like the free spins
You
in
have to
Forza.
earn with in-game currency.
Like the free spins in Forza 6 every time you level up.
Yes, because I played it.
Yeah,
we did that. Yeah.
We did a bit of Forza 6.
We won't talk about it right now.
No. EA is particularly upset because a great deal of the report specifically deals with EA and FIFA Ultimate Team, because that is one of those things that particularly preys on little kiddies. And you know, the defence was, because it's a card pack, the defence was basically these are like baseball cards.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
No, they aren't. They disagree. Well, they're like baseball cards, but with a highly addictive nature. So it's sort of similar.
It's a bit like, do you remember cigarette cards?
No, I don't. What are we talking about?
You used to be able to collect cards with cigarettes, and you get cigarette cards.
In actual cigarettes.
Yeah, like this was
Right.
an actual thing. Did you not know that?
No.
You could get like I've seen loads of them, but yeah, you could collect. You could effectively do the same way you could collect cards with when you bought a pack of cigarettes. Inside the cigarettes there'd be a card. If you ever watch Calamity Jane, there's a good scene where they got like a cigarette card and it's about a singer. It's supposed to be a singer.
So the baseball card analogy doesn't really work. To be honest, does it?
No.
Because it's a bit like saying, you know, like alcohol, which is addictive. It's just the same as fizzy juice, or diluted juice, or water, or milk, because it's a liquid in a glass. It's not quite the same, is it?
No, it's not.
Caffeine. I think that can be addictive too.
Oh yes.
Yeah. So
At
some
the moment,
fizzy juices, you know.
At the moment, I'm trying to stop drinking caffeine, and it's not really working. I had 2 cups of coffee this morning.
I can smell that it's not working.
Oh, does my breath stink of coffee?
I can smell coffee quite well because I don't like it. I'm not saying your breath stinks of it. If you do that, you'll pass out. So just... EA disagrees with the report and are saying that they're going to work with the UK to come up with an agreement / resolve the issue. That's not a direct quote. That's my alteration of the nonsense they said. Basically, they're trying to stay out the limelight. They don't want people to see what they're doing because then it will increase the backlash. So they're trying to go behind closed doors. And while the ESA is doing a lot of lobbying to fix the problem.
Yeah, because the ESA have basically said they strongly disagree with the findings of the DCMS. I need my glasses.
It's written there, DCMS.
I couldn't read it like that. I had to read it. I couldn't read it in the long digital culture, media and sport. I had to read
DCMS.
I am dyslexic. Stop having a go at me.
DMCS.
Shush. So anyway, they strongly disagreed with their findings, and basically they're saying, you know, there's other countries out there that kind of agree with us, and one which they pointed out was France. Now France is, and it's in French. I could not read the French, so I've translated it. Well, I've got the translation of it. It's their Department of Regulatory Authority for Online Games.
It says Argel, right? ARJEL.
Yeah.
So it'll be things like...
you work that out while I talk about this.
Autorité régulaire jouet entertainment.
Basically said that loot boxes do not legally qualify as gambling. However, they also did say that that loot boxes are undermining public policy goals for gambling.
L will probably stand for some sort of multiplayer thing or online thing.
Can I please just talk about what I was going to talk about?
Online.
And basically the ESA have also said that they that basically that there are robust parental controls that empower parents to control in-game purchases.
Yeah, but the thing is that the UK DCMS found was the fact that parents don't necessarily know they're there or how to work them.
And also, I will, like I said last time, children are switched on. They're not idiots. And also teenagers are switched on. They're not idiots. Mm-hmm. They can see a PIN number being put in.
And a lot of parents are a little bit less wily about that. They'll just type it in.
Parents can find their parents' credit cards. They can memorize credit cards numbers. I know one of my members of family, their child has memorized their credit cards. Mm. Like, is just able to rattle off the numbers.
I have that problem actually. Somebody memorised my debit card.
Seriously?
Yeah, it was me, so it wasn't a big issue.
Oh. You could just continue without me.
Okay. Where was I? I have a question for you though. While EA are being a little bit circumspect about what they're going to do, like get out of the limelight, and the ESA are going to do a bit of lobbying to fix the problem, which I don't think should be legal, but it is. Are EA attempting to achieve the same invulnerability that Activision have with Call of Duty?
I don't understand.
Call of Duty didn't do as well, even though it was the second top seller last year, 500 million, right, in sales. Didn't do as well as they wanted it to, right? Mm-hmm. Activision. So they just started putting in Black Ops 4. They just started putting in all the microtransaction stuff. 30 quid for a hammer.
Oh, yeah.
Or whatever it was. I think it was 32 quid for a hammer, something like that. And that's how they made their money back. Because their player base just lap it up. Because there must be something wrong with them, basically.
Don't say that.
No, I don't mean that in a derogatory way. I mean these, if we're talking about people falling victim to addiction issues, then I would say there's probably quite a few people in there that would count.
Do you think it's fair to say that a lot of people who play games have got a bit of an addictive personality? And by that I mean are kind of prone to addiction.
No.
Okay.
Because
there's a lot of people that there are, not myself included, I don't believe that, but there's some people out there that can become addicted to...
Yeah, that's what I'm saying is that if you look at certain things, right, there's a lot less regulation on what is essentially what we consider to be gambling in video games.
Yeah.
So it looks that way because there's less protections. Mm-hmm. I mean...
I don't know. I honestly don't know. Well,
No, I would say no. The casual gamer, yes, but not the other one, no. If you just sit there and play Halo all the time, maybe I could see it. But if you don't, if you play around the games more, if you sit there and play Call of Duty all the time, I could see it. FIFA all the time, I could see it. If you only play FIFA because you're a part-time gamer, I could see it. But if you play all the games around about, then I don't necessarily think so. Because it's more of a well-rounded personality when it comes to gaming. But I would say no.
Okay.
But what I mean by that, so what I'm talking about is all these microtransactions being thrown, because EA do get backlash. Remember, Activision got away with it for years, but as soon as EA tried the Battlefront 2,
I'm not gonna lie. I think a lot of people will have heard of EA, then will have heard of Activision. In terms of the wider popular
Call of Duty, I'm talking about the players.
Right.
I'm talking about the players from the point of view of Call of Duty's had rubbish in it for years since I stopped playing, right? EA and sales go down, that stuff goes up.
Yeah.
EA tried putting some money making stuff in Battlefront. It was really bad, don't get me wrong, but oh my god, they got slapped down. The stuff, do you know, I mentioned this before, Battlefront 2 is one of the few EA games which are legal in countries which have banned loot boxes. Even though it's the country that started this, that started this discussion, it's legal because they took them out. They haven't been able to put them back in yet because the backlash was so bad. So do you think EA are trying to achieve that invulnerability, where if the game doesn't sell well, they just put in the microtransactions, up it to 12, and they've got no problems, they get the money back anyway? I'm not asking you if they'll succeed. I'm asking you if they're trying to.
I'm thinking. I think unless I've actually played the game, I can't actually give a...
I don't think you understand what I'm asking. What do you think I'm asking?
That if a game is poor, they'll just throw some loot boxes.
No, I'm not saying poor. If it's not selling as well as they would like, they up the microtransactions, macrotransactions to make more of the money. Sort of like with Fallout 76. Didn't sell as well as they wanted. They started putting extra stuff in the atomic shop.
Well, I hope they're not doing that. I don't think they are, and I hope they're not.
Who?
EA. I don't think they're doing that.
I do, completely. I don't know why you don't. You'd have to explain that one. Why do you not think they're doing that, considering that they just hired a man who is an expert in putting microtransactions in games to run their entire European division? I think there's been a misunderstanding of the question, if
no,
I can be honest.
I understand the question now. I'm thinking.
Okay. Well, I'll just reiterate it for the people. What I'm asking is, Activision have a lot of invulnerability when it comes to Call of Duty, because if their sales aren't... I'm not saying if the sales are bad, I'm saying if the sales aren't as good as they want, they can just ramp up the microtransactions and they make the money anyway. Because the players who are playing the games seem to be okay with it. EA don't have that. If they ramp up the microtransactions because they need more money or want more money, people backlash. The big example, Battlefront 2.
Maybe they are then. If they are, then they're not going to get away with it.
No, of course not in today's climate, but that's what they're attempting to do. The reason is simple. EA and Activision have set themselves up as companies to rely on greed, macrotransactions, microtransactions, all that sort of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I told you, if they banned microtransactions, EA and Activision are done. If they ban loot boxes, I think they're probably done anyway. Because those are the addictive ones. Those are the ones that people have to buy.
Yeah, I know. It'd be interesting to see if they just, if genuinely all countries decide to outright ban all loot boxes, what would actually, all non-in-game bought loot boxes.
Aye. Basically, if they tried to ban real money interactions.
It'd be
But you
interesting
can
to see
buy a DLC, but you can't buy a something other
Yeah,
than
it'd be
that.
interesting to actually see what happens.
Yeah.
Should we move on to Borderlands 3?
Do you think they're attempting to achieve that invulnerability?
I really hope they're not, because I really want them to be trying.
But
it doesn't look good.
Right, okay.
It doesn't look like they're going the right way. I seriously hope that there is somewhere in EA they're genuinely trying and they don't know what...
No,
they think they're doing the right thing. I don't know.
I don't think they are. I think they know what they're doing. I think they're trying to do that. Maybe not deliberately.
Can I be hopeful? Can I please be hopeful?
Yes, okay. But maybe it's not deliberate. Maybe they're not thinking let's be the same as Activision, but it is the way they're going.
I choose to give them a bit of...
I don't.
Hope.
So, the last story is Borderlands 3. Borderlands 3 doesn't seem to be working properly.
No. I know, I was looking up articles on this, and Vice had an article, and they called it Play Borderlands 3 with your sound and brain turned off. And I was like, oh dear.
Yeah.
What's happened?
So there have been some save game issues on PC.
Yeah, they're basically being corrupted.
If they switch to cloud, sometimes it disappears.
Yeah.
You can save it locally, which seems to be better. And because it's an Epic Game Store exclusive, there's no Steam save option, and they're usually more reliable. It also seems to have terrible performance on all
platforms, yeah.
On all platforms.
Because the one thing I was finding was that the frames per second was being affected across all consoles and PCs.
Yes. Now, if you put a lot of money into a PC, because that's usually what the PC community does, they get a PC that...
That's what I did.
Yes, you did. You got a PC for playing games.
Yeah, specifically for that.
Yep. There is evidence...
Which is red on the inside. You can see through it.
It is, yeah. It's quite nice. There is evidence that some of the issues are security related. I think it's DRM they call it.
Oh, right.
So
I didn't see that.
Constantly checking to make sure that the version you're playing is not a bootleg one, it's a legitimate one.
Right.
And that's taking away from the performance.
Yeah. Well, I saw that the problems were bad on Xbox One X and PS4 Pro.
Which should be fine.
But on the base, which were like lagging. Well,
Yeah.
I say lagging. When I say lagging, I mean it's the FPS is dropping.
Yeah, the frame rate issues.
Yeah. Was happening sometimes on that, but on the base consoles it was happening consistently.
Yes.
And on the PC, the guns were... What have I written there? Oh, and on the PC ones, the gun sights were called shuttering. I didn't understand that. I just saw that phrase.
Stuttering, I think, possibly.
Yes.
Like the frame rate drops.
Right,
so
okay. So I
yeah,
used
so
the word lag.
Yeah. Also, co-op was a nightmare for some people. And
the frame rate is the one that just...
Yeah, that's killer.
Because if you...
It's a first-person shooter.
If you're playing something where your reaction needs to be like that...
Aye.
And there's a lag or a stutter or whatever...
Aye.
It throws everything off.
Yeah.
For a game, if you're playing a game that has to have like on-point reflexes and it's stuttering, it's lagging, the FPS is dropping, there's no point in playing it.
It's also tactical, because if the stuttering's bad enough, you end up surrounded by bad guys you didn't even see coming.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. It's like, imagine if, was it quick action reflexes or something like that, where you have to like press a button instantaneously. I can't remember what it's actually called. It's Q something.
We get it, like that twist and bop it game, or
it's like they use it in Man and Madan and Until Dawn.
Oh, quick time events.
That's it, quick time events. If your frame rate is dropping, you're going to fail everything.
Yeah, it's not going to work, is it?
No.
Or in Mass Effect 2, you'll miss the opportunity to smack people
like
in the face.
I could take a lag in the audio or something like that. That wouldn't bother me as much. You know, like if the...
I don't think you've played the right games yet, because there are games where the sound is really relevant to let you know where the bad guys are.
I mean, in a game like this, I don't think it would bug me as much.
Right.
Much.
Okay. Fair enough.
As much.
That's one word. As much. Just a quick question about the evidence here. There's evidence some of the issues are security related. It's slowing it down. I don't know if that was just PC or not.
Neither do I. I didn't actually see that written anywhere. Yeah. I looked at like a lot of articles and I couldn't find anything.
It was brought up when PC issues were being discussed, but I cannot recall whether or not it was specifically for the PC. It could be for all of it.
Yeah.
But I do know it is on the PC.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's a terrible game that was released basically too early.
And also a lot of people I saw talking about it were just saying that everything's better apart from this, but like shooting and stuff like that. Like the guns are really cool. It's better if you're not having performance issues with the game. But a lot of people are really really dragging the humor.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, but that's because it's the whole thing of we'll sell more reviews and more people would read it if we sensationalize it and go woke. It's not real. It's not real outcry. It's nonsense talk. It's just even if it is, then I feel sorry for the people who genuinely believe that a joke about testicles is somehow going to make the world a worse place. I feel sorry for the people who genuinely think that.
I was reading something about a teddy bear and I was just like, what?
Yeah, like
it makes me want to play it just to see what this teddy bear is.
It's nonsense. I think it's one of the characters is a teddy bear. It's just nonsense. It's just rubbish, right? Some of the main bad guy who's on the box is that type of enemy is called a psycho. They're supposed to be running around screaming nonsense, and they're trying to say something about no. Come on, I mean, there's enough to hate about Borderlands without going into that. Right? There is enough to hate without that. It's just rubbish.
So we end it there on a...
I'd just say that Borderlands 3 basically has been released too early. It's not ready for release yet. It needed another few months of development.
How long was it? About 7 years since the last Borderlands game?
Yeah, but it needed another few months. There's not much you can do about it. It's the same as Crackdown 3. It needed another few months to be fine. But the problem is that this is a co-op looter shooter. Your friends, if you wait for it to be fixed and your friends bash through it, you've got no one to play with.
Yeah.
Just nonsense. Just utter rubbish. Stupid decision to release it early.
So we hope you've enjoyed this.
Mm-hmm.
This, again, quite a depressing topics.
Yeah.
But we hope that we hope the Halo stories kind of give you a bit of a laugh.
I'll make them feel worse, because now they're annoyed. Why didn't you record it?
I'm more annoyed than anybody.
Buy a microphone.
I will be. I just
computer.
don't know which kind to get at the moment, because I've been looking at mixed reviews for loads of different things.
Well,
I hate making a decision.
Well, if it helps, if you narrow it down to a few and then we'll discuss them together, it might help you.
Yeah, I just don't want to be spending like about £120 on a microphone.
Fine. Just figure out your budget.
I just don't understand why this microphone won't work with my PC.
I don't care. Just figure out your budget and then we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
Because I think the ones that we have listed that we want in the future are like 400, so we can't get them now.
Which ones are these ones?
They're the ones that were recommended by someone who does this professionally. But that's for later when we can.
Yeah.
Just pick out a short list of somewhere in the region of 5 to 10 and then we'll discuss it and we'll work it out.
Yeah, I just don't want to be buying something that's just going to cause like static and things like that to pop up.
But if it doesn't work, then you send it back and say this doesn't work.
I can't do that.
Well, then learn how to, because you need to be able to do that just to live. Especially in a deregulated UK.
Right, shall we just end it there, please?
Okay.
Well, we hope you've enjoyed listening to this. I've been getting more and more somber as this episode.
Yeah, let's try that again. Let's try that again. Like. So, unfortunately, all the stories we discussed were of a negative variety. But hopefully you enjoyed the first part where we were just talking about games that we've played.
Yeah.
And that you did learn something from the second part and enjoyed it just in a less laughy, happy-go-lucky way. And you'll keep your eyes open for the evil of evil institutions. So yeah, we hope you enjoyed and that you join us next week. And you can follow us on Facebook at OVerShadow.ShadowCast.
And you can email us at OVerShadow.ShadowCast@gmail.com. If you like this video, you can hit that like button. If you'd like to hear more of us, you can hit that subscribe button and hit the notification bell. If you'd like to leave a comment, that'd be great.
Yeah. As we've discussed, the question we were given by our listener was a bit large for us to fit in with what we'd already planned, but we will get around to it. And if anybody else has any questions, then we can put them in as well.
Yeah.
Okay, that was a weird...
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
So if you want to ask anything, just go ahead. You can either leave a comment or you can email us. Either one's fine. And we can get round to answering it.
Yes.
Or ignore it if it's something. Just say whatever you want to say and then we'll decide what to do with it.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Yeah.
I think you're the only one that actually, because I never got a notification that we got a comment, so you must be the only one.
We didn't. I know the person, so he texted me.
Oh, come on! You could literally leave a comment or actually use the email address that Tommy has set up, please.
Yeah, an email would have been just as private, wouldn't it? But I think he just basically...
Why text?
I think he just came up with the idea as we were talking, so he texted it and said, I've got an idea. Don't berate the one person that asked us a question, woman.
Oh, is it raining? Oh, no.
Focus.
No.
Don't berate the one
I
person
should have put
that...
my new shoes on.
Why? The little boats, why?
Because I want to keep them nice.
Oh, you shouldn't have.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you said you should have, sorry.
I shouldn't have put my new shoes on because I wanted to keep them nice.
It's rain, not custard.
Yeah, but they get muddy.
What? How?
Because it's Scotland.
No, mud doesn't just appear out of nowhere. What do you think? Anyway, don't berate the one person that actually asked us a question. Okay?
Oh, sorry.
That's bad. Thank you for the question.
Thank you for the question, and thank you all for listening.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye-bye.